Welcome to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. My name is Dave. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. We're going to start the episode right now. Happy to have you here. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. I'm happy to be here with you again. It's Dave here from Ontario, Canada. And I know we have listeners around the world, including Simit there in Germany. Hi, Simit. It's so great to connect with all of you. Thank you for all of the responses. Getting some great time one-on-one with listeners of the show, which is great for a newer show, 30 episodes in. I'm already hearing great responses from you and working with people just like you to create their own audio editing business in support of podcasters. I've been working with podcasters here and also on my How to Podcast series show that's like 400 or 500 episodes in. That's a great podcast as well. Because of me? No, because of my amazing guest co-hosts and all the community we built over there at howtopodcast.ca. So if you love this, you might really like the How to Podcast series as well, because it's completely different in content. We're not just doing the same thing in two different places. There's a great community there. And if you're enjoying this, I would love to invite you there as well over at howtopodcast.ca. Shameless plug now complete. Let's go. So today we're going to be talking about some of the initial things you need to consider when setting up your business for the first time. There's people listening to the show, and there's lots of big plans. There's lots of things to consider. I've taken a list of 10 things that I was working on, actually more like 13 things I'm working on, and combined it down to 5. Just compiled it, got it into a smaller format because 13 is a big number, and you have a busy day ahead of you. So let's make it smaller, Dave, more concise. And I am going to talk about 5 different things to consider when setting up your online audio service business. Some essential things to consider, some steps for you on your journey of setting up your audio business for podcasting. You ready? Here we go. Setting up your business as a entrepreneur, as a side hustle, whatever it is for you, is kind of like setting up a podcast. Really, many of the things we're going to discuss today also carry over to just starting a show. So if you have never started a podcast, these are some of the steps that podcasters are dealing with, and you need to understand it from your point of view, setting up a business that serves podcasters, but also understand that podcasters are going through many of these same steps themselves, and they're looking for help. So as you go through this process and hone what works for you, you might be able to take these same things and then reconfigure them for podcasters and help them in their journey of setting up their show, because they're going to have the same types of questions and same hurdles to get over that you're going to do just by setting up your podcast business, your editing and support business. So you can do this and help people at the same time. So there's 5 overarching things to consider out of my list of 13. I'll gladly share with you my list of 13. If you want that, just reach out to me through the website, podcasteditingandsupport.com, and I would love to give that to you as well. But compiled down to 5, the first thing we need to think about, just like podcasting, for our business in support of podcasting, we need to establish our foundation for our business. Now, we get to see that word that everybody seems to struggle with. Here in Canada and outside of the U.S., we call it a niche because it's spelled N-I-C-H-E. It's not spelled N-I-T-C-H, which would be niche, like a ditch, D-I-T-C-H. And other words that would rhyme, I guess, which we won't say. We say niche, everyone. Sounds like quiche. Like the egg breakfast thingy. Yeah, which I don't eat. We say niche. We need to define right off the bat your target and your niche. And for our U.S. friends, because we love you, your niche. You need to define your target. Just like podcasters do, as editors and support people, it's really great if you can really focus in on a certain group instead of going so broad. I've heard of people who edit only for people with financial podcasts. I hear of people who only edit for people who do like true crime. And that's all they do. They don't do business podcasts. They don't do health and wellness podcasts. They focus on true crime. So is there a niche or niche that you enjoy that you would love to be a part of? Maybe doing a podcast around medical terminology makes your brain hurt because you're like, I don't understand what these people are saying. And I don't know if they said anything correctly, or transcriptions are a mess because they're saying all these names of different medicines. And I don't know what they're talking about. So maybe that's not for you. Maybe you could focus on something that's more in your area or your wheelhouse, something you enjoy and you know a lot about. You can offer a lot of value to that podcaster just because you're in the space yourself. So if you like Star Wars, maybe you're the best Star Wars podcast editing and support person in the world because you have been to the dark side. I don't know. Maybe that's something to consider. When you're establishing your business, make sure that you define your target market and your niche. Also, you need to develop a business plan. And you're like, oh, Dave, I'm looking to do this small time. But what if it gets really, really good? What if it takes off? You need to be prepared. You need a plan for your business. How you're going to grow, how you're going to market it, how you're going to do business. What does good look like to you? I'm pretty sure you can answer that question. Also, think about setting up your legal and financial structures for your business, registering your business, if that's where you're going with it, hiring an accountant. My wife and I have an accountant because we have rental property. It's part of our portfolio. So we work with a team and they help us. So it's already built in there. Yes, you're going to pay for it, but when you're not a numbers person, don't pretend to be one, okay? Don't, because you're going to be on the hook if you make a wildly terrible mistake. Trust the people who do this for a living, right? Just like people are going to trust you with their podcast, trust people who do money better than you do if that's not your skill set. If it is, market that. You could offer your services. But if that's not your skill set, then please default to the professionals. That's what they do. Set up your legal and financial background for your business, and then create a professional website and an online presence for who you are and what you do. People are looking for that. So if you say, come to my Facebook page and hire me to be your editor, that does not have the same impact as the name of your business.com and a professionally made website that draws people in and says, this person's worth investing my money into, rather than someone who has a lemonade stand on the side of the road who might be here tomorrow, they might not be, and I'm going to give them money. You want to make sure that you have a nice firm foundation to build your business on, and that starts at the beginning. Establish your business foundation. That's the first thing you need to do as you set up your business for a podcast editing and support person. Have you started here yet? Did you skip this step? If you did, go back and make sure that this is set up properly. Okay? Again, all these information and all that stuff we're talking about, as always, in the show notes. Number 2 is you need to develop your personal technical expertise and everything you need behind the scenes to make this all work. If you don't have your own podcast, which I highly recommend you do have your own podcast, and I'll default here for a second, the reason why is because people need to know what you do and how you do it, and it's your online resume. So with me, I have around 2,000 episodes over a 5-year span. I have 8 different podcasts that you can listen to, and they're all slightly different, showing off the different things that I do in podcasting. And it becomes a living, breathing thing that points people back to me and opens the door for people to go, yeah, I like what this guy's doing. If you don't have a podcast, start one. As a podcast editor and support person, you need to be in the game to understand the game. Otherwise, you're in the stands and you don't get what it feels like to be on the field. Get in the game, everyone, and start your podcast. Develop your technical expertise and abilities. Hone your audio editing skills and stay updated to what's happening in the trends for podcasting. You got to understand how to use all the tools. Otherwise, it's going to take you 4, 5, 10 times longer to do one task. Had you not understood and learned your tools. My oldest son works for a home building company, and he has a plethora of tools. Many of them I don't have because I don't build houses. He knows how to use each tool to the best of its ability and for its intended purpose. You need to also know how to use your tools in the right way. A screwdriver makes a terrible hammer. A hammer makes a terrible saw. A saw makes a terrible ladder. They all need to be used for the right thing in the right space for the right project. Use the right tools and know how to use them. That's your job. Before you get a client, understand what you're doing, because if you're going to charge your client per hour and you don't have a sweet clue on what this button does, maybe you need to spend more time getting ready and understanding the tools in front of you before you put yourself out there in the world and saying, I'm ready to be hired, pay me money. I don't know what I'm doing, but pay me money. You can have a better result with your customers if you understand your tools. Hone your audio editing skills. Invest in professional-grade hardware and software. Instead of doing podcast editing from your phone, it's probably a good idea if you have some sort of laptop, PC, desktop thing to do the thing you do. Have the right equipment. Don't try to use something that's not going to be effective for you and cause you extra time, frustration, and poor results. Invest in the right gear to do the job. Also, you need to establish a reliable workflow and file management system. How do you work? What works for you? Are you organized or disorganized? Do you like short timelines or long timelines? Do you like pressure or do you buckle under pressure? You got to understand how you work and what your workflow is. If you don't have a podcast, you don't know what your workflow is. Having a podcast will be that ground floor for you to understand how you work and then how you can translate that into a customer base. As well, ensure that you have fast, stable internet connection to handle large files, audio files, images, videos, and things that are going to be transferred back and forth between you and clients. If you are out in the middle of the country and the closest Wi-Fi signal is a 10-minute drive into town, you're going to have some challenges setting up an online audio editing business using tools and things that are based on the web. You're going to be frustrated, so you need to make plans for that. So keep that in mind. Make sure you develop all the technical expertise and everything you need to be successful before you hang up your shingle in the world and say, I am ready for clients. Number 3, you need to create a compelling service offering. I can go right now to Upwork, Fiverr, or some of those other sites and hire somebody for $5, $10, $15 to edit my podcast. Yep, I can. Will I be happy with it? Maybe. Maybe not. Will I have the same person in the future to work with again? Maybe. Maybe not. So setting up your business, you're setting up yourself to be a compelling offering to an ongoing client. We want to get clients in our world that are going to come back on a regular cadence and create a relationship with them. We're not here to do one-off things and chase people to try to get new clients all the time. We're looking to solidify a consistent client base, providing constant work in the form of podcast episodes that go out on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. We're looking to build a community around what we do so we have reliable, predictable work and income. Correct? Yes. So you need to create a compelling service offering that sets you apart from the $5, $10 options, hit and miss, working with multiple people, getting very varied results, and the frustration. You're the answer to that. You are the opposite to that in that you're looking for consistent, steady, client-supported work. You're looking for something that's going to help somebody in the long term, not a short-term hit. You need to develop a clear pricing structure and what kind of packages that you offer? Are you kind of like a buffet? You know, that restaurant where you walk in and they have everything on display. You grab an empty plate and you just go pick up what you want. I'm going to have a little salad and some cheesecake. Well, that's an interesting combination, but you can do whatever you want because everything's available. Or do you have to order off the menu and you can only get this and everything extra is an additional price? We went to a restaurant recently and we wanted to get a side of like dipping sauce for our food. And that was like an extra $5 to put dipping sauce into a small container, the size that would fit in the palm of your hand. $5 just for dip. Okay, so how are you doing your editing pricing? Are you doing it all in one? Are you doing a monthly thing? Are you doing hourly rates? Are you doing a buffet, a pick your own adventure type thing? What is your basis for how you price your business? And what's your number, right? What's your number? How much is this going to cost me to work with you? And I would suggest that you have multiple paths for people depending on who your client base is. If you're working in the financial industry with people who make a lot of money, you can set your rates accordingly. If you want to focus on a hobbyist podcaster who works on their own and has a full-time job and does this on the side, that number is going to be a little bit different than a financially based podcast with a huge budget. So what's your number? And don't try to do both because you're going to have some frustrations there. Create your compelling service offering. Offer some value-added services as well, like transcription services or show notes or maybe album art or episode art or guest helping your podcaster get on podcasts or find guests for their show. Those are all additional add-ons that you can add and generate more income beyond the audio editing portion of what you do. Also, build a strong portfolio showcasing your skills. I want to know what you can do for me when I come and meet with you as a potential podcast editor and support person. It's not about you. It's about what you can do for me. So give me examples so I can go, I can see myself working with this person based on the output of what they do. And make sure you establish clear communication channels, a way that we can communicate without it being a huge pain in the butt. Whether that's through texting, whether messaging, whether that's through a online service or a shared program like a Monday or something like that, you need a platform where communication thrives and is simple for both parties, you and the person you're working with. Number 4 is we need to implement effective marketing and networking strategies. Nobody knows about your business until you tell them about it. Now, you can use social media. You can use all of those great things, your LinkedIn profile. Those are all tools. Okay, yeah, I get that. Use social media wherever you're most comfortable being. Be there and do it well. You don't have to be everywhere. You can be, but you don't have to be. Just be active where you think your clients are going to be. There's no use being on TikTok if your clients are all on LinkedIn. Be where your clients or your potential new clients live. Hang out where they hang out. They'll get to meet you better than to try to get somebody to leave a platform and come to your platform. You go to them. They don't owe you anything when you're first creating that connection between client and service provider. Go to them. You can use social media. You can also network within podcast communities and attend industry events. If there's a podcast event in your part of the world, good idea for you to be there. Again, not just to get clients, but to be a part of the conversation, to be a part of the community, to show up. You can just get a shirt with your, hey, I'm an editor on it. I just did a shirt yesterday. It says, it's got a picture of scissors cutting an audio clip, and it says, cut the crap. Hire an audio editor. And it has my website, podcasteditingandsupport.com. So there you go. Just wear a shirt like that to a big event for podcasting, and you're going to get a few questions just from wearing that. So get out there, rub shoulders, rub elbows with other podcasters, It's a great way to connect. Go to events where maybe podcasters or future podcasters would be at, but there's nobody else like you there. Maybe go to those financial conferences as a podcast editor instead of just going to podcast events. Go to events in your area, your niche, to our American friends, your niche, so that people can connect with you. Let people find out about you. You got to get away from your microphone, away from your computer, and go rub shoulders with people in your community. You can also develop partnerships with complementary businesses like podcast hosting platforms or tech solutions. Anything to do that's adjacent to podcasting, then also leverage that as well. And implement a referral program to encourage word of mouth marketing. You want people to talk about you when you're not in the room. So what if somebody says, I can't afford your services? Well, what if you got me enough clients that offset the price of my services, and then I'm doing the work for you for free? As long as these people that you send to me keep working with me, I will give you a portion of their fees to work with me as a referral bonus. You could technically work with me for free just by bringing me your friends and family. You can get podcast editing and support for free just by referring people. If you're interested in my referral program, make sure you reach out to me because we could be working together right now. You don't need to wait. Implement effective marketing and networking strategies. It's a great thing you need to do right off the bat as a podcast editor and support person. Highly encourage you to do this and spend some time thinking through this. Again, all the information in the show notes. Lastly, number 5 is to plan for growth and scalability. I get it. I really, really do get it. I am right where you are right now. I have a full-time job, working nights, 5 nights a week. And then on my other 2 days off a week, I am a podcaster, 8 podcasts. I talk to 25 people a week. I'm recording. I'm editing for clients. I'm doing one-on-one consultations for the How to Podcast series. I'm doing them over here for podcast editing and support. My calendar is jacked. I have people who want a piece of me for free who get a little bit upset and perturbed that they have to wait in line. They just think that, hey, you're so busy. Why don't you just stop doing all those other things so I can talk to you? Talking to people for free doesn't pay my gas bill. You know, when I go in to top up the gas in my car, I don't walk in and say to the person behind the cash register, thank you. Thanks for the free gas. I'll tell all my friends. No, they don't seem to appreciate that. They want to be paid for the gas I just put in my car. I do love talking to people for free, but it doesn't keep the lights on. So I do need to do things to make money. So I am a busy person, and I have one foot in one world and one foot in the other, just like you. And I'm trying to get to the point where I can make the leap and have both feet on the same spot going in the right direction, instead of going in 2 different diametrically opposed directions and feeling a little stretched out at the moment, to be honest. I get it. You need to plan for the future. And it might seem like it's going to be years from now that this will be a reality, but you need to start planning today. You need to develop all of the systems that can handle increased workload. Somebody walks up to you today and says, I want to hire you to do this project. I want to hire you to do an audiobook. I want to hire you to do this short run 10 episode series, and I need it done in this time frame. What would that look like for you? Would you have to say no to a potential lucrative opportunity that might open the doors for even more opportunity because you have to go to work tonight, or you have to go to work this afternoon, or you've overextended yourself with free offerings and the free offerings have filled your calendar to the point where you don't have time for a paid project? That would be a shame. Could you bring on more help? Have you ever thought about bringing on more help? What does that look like? There's so many different components to this that you need to consider at the beginning of your setting up your business. Consider hiring and training additional editors as demand grows. There's probably people in your circle. I know people that I could reach out to today, and with a little bit of support and a little bit of encouragement, I'm sure they could catch up and be ready to work with me in a short amount of time. So I'm keeping my eye on these people because I'm watching what they're doing for future possibilities, and I'm always thinking, okay, who's the next person I need to talk to? Explore any automation or AI-assisted tools that will help you improve your efficiency. Watch Calendly, for example, for booking calendar events. Look for things that are going to make things easy for you. The more things you can offload that are easy to offload, the better. It's going to free up time in your calendar. And consistently and continuously gather client feedback and adapt your services to meet the evolving needs of your clients. Get feedback. Don't assume everything is great when it might not be. Make sure you're talking to your customers, your clients, and your future clients. And don't stop looking for new clients. I am shocked when I hear a podcast editing and support person who one day wakes up to 5 emails saying, "We're done. We can't afford your services. Thanks very much. Bye-bye." And they have nobody else in the pipeline. They have gotten soft and lazy in that they haven't even gone out to find new clients. And they even forget how to do it because it's been so long. I've worked for A, B, C, and D podcasts for so long that I forgot what it was like to go out and promote my services. And now I'm starting at scratch all over again with 0 clients. What a frustrating thing to have happen. You should be always like searching the bushes, looking over fences where you're legally allowed to do so, and always just on the hunt for the next client. Always be researching, always be looking, building your world. So by focusing on these 5 things, like we mentioned already, establishing your business foundation, developing your technical expertise and infrastructure, creating a compelling service offering, implementing effective marketing and network strategies, and lastly, planning for growth and stability, putting these 5 things together become your foundation for building your business. And I really want you to build it the right way so that it serves you into the future. By focusing on these 5 key areas, you're going to be well positioned to launch and grow a successful online audio editing service for podcasters. And if you need help with this, or you want some one-on-one time with this crazy guy named Dave in Canada, you can always reach out to me through the website. And I'd love to talk to you at podcasteditingandsupport.com. I'm here for you, whether you're a podcaster who wants to become an editor or you're a podcaster who's looking for an editor. This is the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Thank you for being here. Catch you on episode 31, coming soon. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Visit us at podcasteditingandsupport.com, podcasteditingandsupport.com. We would love to help you find a great podcast editor, or if you want to hire us, we would love to work with you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. Catch you on the next episode. Take care.